Hello, welcome to Workout Wednesday week 26. We're going to be creating a polar chart in Charticulator. So what we're going to do is we're going to head on over to the Isophonics.net to collect some data, and we're going to head over to the reference annotations for the detail section, and we're going to download the structural segmentation CSV, chords and beats for the I Saw Her Standing There song. You can also choose your own Beatles song of your choice if you wanted to, and this is kind of provided by the Queen Mary University of London. So just one moment and we'll head over to our Power BI desktop. So in Power BI desktop, we're going to collect our data and import it, and then model our data when it loads. And we're going to join those three CSV files. And what we want to collect is we want to join the beats, chords, and song segments together in one table. So for each of the beats, we'll have the beat name, which will be beat 1, 2, 3, and 4. For each of the song segments, we'll have the segment names, and these will be segments such as the intro, the verses, bridges, and so on. But for the chords, rather than have them collected under the chords, we're going to have each of the chords listed out on its own, in its own grouping. We're then going to have the start, the finish, duration, and the adjusted finish here for those beats. And we're going to have those beats go for 0.1 seconds as well. So I'm going to load our data, and our table will look like the following. So song attribute, attribute name, start, finish, duration, and adjusted finish. And then we're going to import our Charticulator visual. Oh, it's being a bit slow. And we're going to drag in the song attribute, attribute name, start, adjusted finish, excuse me, and then we're going to drag in the attribute name into the tooltips along with the start and the duration. And we're going to head on over and we're going to edit the visual. Create chart and drop the song attribute onto the y-axis of the main canvas. Now a little Glyph Editor here, we've got our guides. I'm going to draw a data axis from the first and the last vertical guide. Now I'm going to pop little glyph axes out, collecting our plot segments. We want overlapping sub-layout today. Back in our glyph, it's going to resize. Now, drag in the start. Now hopefully Charticulator plays along nicely. Now hopefully, we get a little squishy. Now sometimes it works well and sometimes it doesn't, and you can never really tell what you're going to get. But that's okay. So we've got our glyph canvas, we've got our data axes, and we've got our starts and our finishes here. So what we want to do now is grab our rectangle mark And between the 2 points here, let's just do that again. Doesn't seem to want to. Something wrong with my block segment. So that looks okay. Let's bring that back in. And you might want to set our start to don't summarize. There we go. So that's looking a bit better. Now if we pop out our glyph, got a little bit more working room. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select the shape and rename that to segment. And then I'm going to link the color to the attribute name. We've got an array of colors coming through here. So the next thing I now want to do is back to my glyph. I'm going to put in some vertical guides. I'm going to slip them about in the middle. So vertical, I mean horizontal. You know what I mean. With the existing guides. And then bring in another rectangle mark. And then snap to guides like so. And then colour that in a black colour. Just make sure that they've actually snapped to be, because otherwise if they're not snapped it won't work quite so well. Beautiful. So what I now want to do is rename this one to the chord. I don't think it doesn't quite ping. Make sure you press enter. And I want to set the visibility of these as well. So for the chord, I'm going to have the chord. Going to set the visibility with the song attribute, and we're going to remove it for the beat and segments, so that's not visible on those two here. And then in the segments, going to adjust the color. Actually no, I won't do that yet. I'm just going to change the data axes and I'm going to make this not visible like that. And I'm going to change the scaffold now to polar. Drag that down on the canvas. Oops. And that looks very, very different. So my guides seem to have moved, which is a little unusual. So I'll just drop those guides back into position. Onto the segments, change the colours. I'm going to change the chord colours to Beaner. On the pot segment, I'd like some grid lines. And then the dashed. And on the axes, I want to change the order. I want the beat on the outer edge. I'm going to go into the sort button here and move the beat up to the top and hit OK. I'm going to bring this segment axis in a bit. Like so. Let's tap it more. And then I'm just going to hit save. Sometimes Charticulator decides that it doesn't want to work. change those colours back to none. Or maybe they need to be white for now. And finally, that's worked. So what I'm going to do now is just do some finishing touches on the visual. Grab in some shapes. I'm going to go back in and then adjust all the colours. The visual to be white instead of black. Turn that background off. And my computer's been very slow, so what I'll end up doing is do a here's one I prepared earlier. And then colours adjusted, back to white, here's one I prepared earlier. So each of the segments are part of the songs, the verses, chorus and the songs, and we can see them throughout.